Boom. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Today is Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. Brian's had his, this is so funny because we have our TRISOF, our secret options formula meetings. Tuesday also, for some reason, I decided to have my root canal done. And there's like three procedures that you have to go through. So I'm going to be all frozen up again for tonight's meeting. But if anything, it's probably better that these guys just talk away because, wow, some of the ideas that they've had recently, it just knocked the cover off the ball. It's crazy the amount of money that we're seeing here just over the near term in the market. The profits are a bit ridiculous. But nonetheless, they are what they are. If anything, also with that sort of in mind, my co-host here, Kevin, he's actually turned into a really great mentor for the site, and just a pleasure to work with the gentleman. He on Tuesdays, I asked him just to come in and chat with the community about what he's seeing in the market. So we had a lot of fun. Looking at warrants and stuff like that, and of course we had we had one stock that went a little bit crazy here today. Were you in that CLIR, Kevin? Did you? I don't know whether you participated in that or not.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there you go.
I bought it right after we talked about it that day.
Yeah, actually, and I to be honest with you, everybody, I pulled one out of my ass on that one. Because I even publicly, and I never do this, but I publicly was like, holy crap, this thing's going to get ready to grow. So, and sure enough, boom, it jumped. And of course, we all got paid today. So, today's Tuesday. We had, like I said, awesome daily brief session with Kevin. And the two of us, I think we gave the site members some really good value there. So, awesome stuff, Kevin. Really appreciate it. As I said, tonight will be our TRISOF meeting. Who knows what crazy ideas we'll have in store in the coming days. I will say that my sort of propensity to buy new stuff here is waning. You know, if I already own it and they pop into my sell levels, awesome, great, nothing wrong with that. But I just don't know whether I really want to go add a hell of a lot of new risk exposure. Now, of course, I have taken a bunch of money out of the market, so I suppose I could argue that freeing up that capital is giving me some ammunition. But I don't know. I'm leery about adding new positions. But let's go through our sheet here and just give you an idea of what I'm seeing broader market. And also, too, interestingly enough, I actually like to, in the daily briefs, download a lot of this sort of basic market overview stuff onto this video. So actually what ends up happening is a lot of site members watch the daily brief where we have conversations and, hey, what's going on there? What's going on there? And then this is sort of that summary video following. So it actually works really nice. I mean, it says like 2 hours of video every single day. This is insane what we do here. But anyway, if anything, the fact that I can do this day in, day out without reservation with no pay, I mean, I don't give a shit if there's any money generated off of this YouTube page. I'm sure all the views, YouTube is loving the revenue for free for them. But that's probably a really good commentary about just how much I love the market. I mean, hopefully you can see the passion that I have for the market. I come here day in, day out because I love this stuff. It is what I do. It is me. So, and thank you very much, Jojo, for giving me the opportunity. I listened to you very closely and I tried to do exactly what you asked. And I think that the universe is very happy with what I do here. So let's keep on keeping on, right? Okay, while we start the conversation off with the hegemony proxy of the world, the US dollar index, fascinating to hear the conversations about people basically calling the end of the US dollar and US dollar is going to collapse and crash. I can't see it because frankly speaking, the United States is really the only economy that's actually functioning operationally in the world right now. And of course, it's on its knees. So, I mean, is there an alternative? Are you going to go to China? No offense, but I don't trust any investing dollars in China. And I believe that their government could easily take that money away from you in a heartbeat. And there's not a fucking thing you can do about it. No way in hell I am going to invest any capital in China. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. How about Russia? Ooh, there's an even better one. There's no way in hell I can invest my hard-earned capital in these kind of countries. I just can't do it. Maybe I go down to South America. Interesting. Bill Gates actually did a very substantial purchase in Mexico recently. And I have seen that investment has done pretty well. And I might argue that sort of the de-globalization theme that I think we're probably going to see here over the next 10, 15 years probably going to help a country like Mexico. But at the same time, too, what's the legal system like in Mexico? So I don't know. Good luck on that one, Mr. Gates. Obviously he probably knows the people that are in charge there. So he's probably got a better read of the legal standing that he has there. But it's tough for me to participate too much in South America. But having said that, we have members on the site that are from all over the world. Just understand, if you are investing in your local equity markets, remember, equities are growth proxies. They are the flimsiest of legal standing. And when push comes to shove, equity investors, you saw what happened with that Luckin Coffee. My goodness, what a disaster. Equity investors can get pushed around pretty hard here. So, and also too, given the fact that this is 2020, and we listened, twice a year. The chairman of the Federal Reserve Board is supposed to go in front of the U.S. Congress and testify as to sort of what they're doing over there at the Fed, and what their impression of what economic activity and what the economy is going to look like. And they were grilling Mr. Powell pretty hard here today, and I get the impression that literally everybody in the world is just holding their breath right now. And of course, we're starting to see this quote-unquote second wave, and he kind of downloaded and said, we're entirely dependent where we go from here if there is a second wave. Tinfoil hats, all that kind of stuff. A little disappointed listening to the politicians. Nobody talked about. In fact, actually, one of the senators asked the Fed whether they would give grants, and it was almost funny, his reply, because it was like, "Excuse me, I'm a banker. I don't give any free money to anybody." And he was kind of like, "You can come and borrow all the money you want. We've set up all these programs. You want to go into debt into your eyeballs? Hey, come talk to us. We'll charge you a nice big fat interest rate, well above the short rates that we'll roll our paper over at. We're going to make a fortune here. You can borrow all the money you want, but you ain't getting anything for free from the Fed." I definitely got that message today. The irony of it all is all this chaos and stuff, it helps the bankers. They will consolidate more power through all this. There's no doubt about that. But over the short term, I'm feeling like, of course, we've talked about there is a big sort of catalyst event window that's supposed to happen here end of June, beginning of July. I'm wondering whether maybe this is actually a catalyst peak in greed. I remember Mr. Barstool the other day. Hey, Warren Buffett's is an idiot. Anybody can make money at this. That could be this case. I remember I'm a student of the market just like all of you. I don't know what the hell's going to happen here. So maybe that's the scenario. I don't know. I will say that as it stands right now, I don't really like the idea of hunting new shorts here on the US dollar index. We're coming up against the bottom end of the range. We're also coming into megaphone levels. I could see some chop through here. That's definitely possible, especially if we go into another bar stool kind of craze blow off top in the stock market. That could definitely happen. So this isn't really a great level for me to be thinking about shorting. And ironically enough, I actually like the long side of the US dollar through this window here rather than the short. So we'll see what happens here. Only time will tell. I mean, I suppose if the case numbers start ramping up in earnest, maybe this thing starts cranking up. You can see how quickly this bull market developed. I mean, that's only like a week. Could we have some sort of insane counter trend rally here? Totally. And what really worries me, of course, Barstool guy, he has no respect for professionals in the market now. But, Mr. Powell even said, expecting, intense volatility. Definitely we've seen that. And they really don't know what the hell's going to happen here. Is that really a good place for Joe Sixpack to be going and taking big bets? Sadly, that is exactly when Joe Sixpack is going to go and take big bets out of desperation. And the sad thing there, of course, 9 times out of 10, when the public acts, they usually do the wrong thing. So very, very dangerous market for the public here right now. Risk on, risk off, as we had sort of said. And I remember I put tweets out to this effect, that I didn't really think I really liked the idea of shorting too soon here, because I just, it felt like this setup was still developing. So it shouldn't really surprise us that, gee whiz, now we're getting counter trend rallies. And, like we say, look left. If we can get into this candle, we might rally right back up into that cute little wick up there. That would be a great little liquidity pool. The bear divs have confirmed now. We have location. So now it's just really a question of hunting. Excuse me. Why do I always get the hiccups right when I start these darn rants? It's just a question of structure now. So, interestingly enough, off of this range, I can definitely see levels that the pros are going to come in and consider. Check this out. You can see that all we did here today was we just rallied right into a reload zone. Imagine that. And interestingly enough, too, this is also right against an existing uptrend line. So, here's a good example. What once was support, break support, now becomes resistance. Probably a little bit early still for me to be hunting shorts, but I'll tell you, man, this is starting to develop pretty interestingly. If we drill down to lower time frames, you can sort of see there's the original market structure. Look at that interesting wick. That's probably the wick. Remember I said all those trap bulls up there. There's that good old mountain man. There's that trend line. There's 78.6. So, you can start to see even the lower time frame people are going to be like, hey, we're starting to get location. Those lower time frame people are going to start hunting for signs of divergence. And then as soon as they start seeing these big fat M's come in, look out. So, that's the state. We are definitely in location. We definitely have momentum divergence off the higher time frames. So really now it's a question of, do we start getting structural signals developing where structural signals usually develop? Ironically enough, it's so bizarre how cliche this game really is. And if you can just slow yourself down, just build a plan ahead of time so that when this stuff all starts coming in, you're not like caught off guard. You're like, okay, well, this is what I was expecting. Okay, well, this is what I was expecting. Okay, well, this is what I was expecting. And you'd be surprised. Like, there was a guy, I can't remember who it was, he used to always say, I think it was Jim Rogers, he used to always say, I only trade when I can look over in the corner, I see this big pile of money just sitting, and I just have to stand up, walk over, pick it up, and put it in my pocket. And that would be sort of this kind of scenario, right? If we get the market rallying up into reload zones and then painting nice failure, that's kind of like the market just saying, hey, there's a big pile of money sitting here. You want it? Is it worth taking the risk to try and grab it? And enough said. So that's sort of that risk on kind of conversation. Sort of kind of getting up into nosebleedy territory. It's interesting to watch the crude oil market. Remember we had said recently, was this double top actually going to paint the level of failure here? I also said recently, too, and I've found this over the years, that crude is a sort of, ironically enough, it's sort of the ultimate risk proxy in the marketplace. Is the economy expanding? Is the economy contracting? That kind of conversation. Interesting if we You see the original M top here. Notice it wasn't really the prettiest clothesline top. Probably paints like what we call a dirty top here. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah. So you can see this clothesline hides just slightly. What is that level? That's, I can't see the number because it's right over there. Oh, well. Anyway, point of the matter here is we're probably now going to get some pretty good anecdotal evidence. And also, too, we've got EIA numbers, so we'll see what kind of demand there was over the past week or so for unleaded gasoline as the economies open back up, that kind of idea. So let's watch. If we see the crude oil rally up, can't get up through these highs and start to roll over, then, and we go through the interesting how this was a serious horizontal support and resistance level. We go through that, then I think you got your big fat M that's like, uh-oh, crude's about to collapse. But I don't think I see it just yet. Having said that, is this an area where traders have a relatively... In fact, actually, I was talking to John Hoagland this morning. It was so cool listening to him talk because he says all the same things. And he's like... I was talking to him, I banged off a crazy win in the stock market today, and I was just like, people trade your setups, right? It's the only way you can win at this game. Trade your goddamn setups. And he's like... Yeah, Brian, the key here is what they call asymmetrical risk. That, can you find the levels, those setups, where, if you take your shot and you're proved wrong by the market, you actually have levels that tell you, no, you were wrong. And then at the same time, if you had taken that trade and it worked, you have levels where realistically price can go to those levels. And you get paid asymmetrically relative to the risk taken. So in this kind of scenario, I think this is actually not a bad example of a typical trader's life. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen in this world. You really don't. And anybody who sits there and says, I think that's going to happen, I think this is going to happen, they're full of horse shit. Nobody knows what the hell's going to happen. But if you're going to take a risk with your hard-earned money, can you find levels? And here's a pretty good example where, the professional trader is going to be hunting reload zones. You've seen that plenty from me. Gee whiz, there's your reload zone, just like we saw in the stock market. If I go in here and I say, look, I'm willing to take a shot against these levels. Yeah, let's even go 61.8. We won't even, Kavarkanator, he's going to be hitting that 78.6 like a boss. So... that says 39.39, and we got as high as 39.36, so he got no fill here today. Fuck you, Kevin. I'm just kidding. Like I'd ever say that. Come on. Anyway, point of the matter here is you can see reload zones. There are going to be traders that are going to take a shot against that level. And the key here, this is what distinguishes the public between the professionals, is if I take a shot here, can I identify an area where if I'm right, if I'm going to go short here, I'm going to get paid relatively more than if I'm wrong. That's really the key to making money at this game. Took me a while to fix that little tool there. So check this out. I could completely understand a guy like Mountain come in, just going to short against that high. I've got a pretty clear defined window where I'm going to short against this original M top. And if the market proves me wrong, it will go up through the M and tell me that I'm wrong, which is perfectly fine. It's trader's life, right? Come on, you. Damn it, won't get there. Anyway, if I'm right, 50% tags, I get paid $2.82 for every dollar of risk that I took. That's really the secret to making money at this game, folks, is put away your need to be right. And if and when you are right, you get paid substantially more than if you're wrong. And that's really the secret to this, guys. So actually, this will be interesting to see. And frankly speaking, I have no idea whether these highs are going to get taken out. I just don't know. But let's just see what happens. And maybe, Monday, Tuesday next week, I'll be reporting, we showed you how to lose money from trading. Anyway, so there is a very interesting trade setup. As a professional futures trader, I would seriously consider that. So, risk on, risk off. Like we were kind of saying, risk ons may be getting a little tired here. US dollar index is catching a bid. So, who knows? Maybe this damn thing just cranks straight up from here. We'll see. Interesting to see the small cap stocks have rallied right back up against their old highs. So, there's still a bit of a bid in that small cap market. But as long as this M persists here, I'm going to be thinking that I have to be more cautious than aggressive. I think you just have to be. It's just me. It's just my attitude. So, the risk-off proxies, fascinating to see that indeed the bond market did fail at Mountain Man level there. I don't even know if it was able to fill in the gap. We're melting back down here. So risk off is actually coming off, and I suppose that sort of, to a certain degree, explains the 2-day rally here in stocks. If stocks do actually roll over and top out here, I would expect that bond market to move higher. And maybe what we're going to do is like an AB equals CD that does nothing more than just take us back up to the top end of the range. It's interesting, like I was saying there a few minutes ago, chatting with Mr. Hoagland here today. I thought it was really interesting that he even, as a 35-year floor veteran, he even mentioned today here that he was very surprised that basically gold prices have done nothing now for, this is 3 months, April, May, June. We've done almost nothing here. I suppose in a good way, seasonally, May, June's usually a really bad time of year for the metals anyway. Actually, I'm not going to say that. What I am going to say is sell in May and walk away. Usually there's a summer trough. Then we actually get some sort of buy window in July. So, the good part about the gold market is if it can just hang in here and just keep going sideways, the longer the channel, the bigger the run. Once we actually get back into sort of seasonally appropriate, and then, maybe the stock market rolls over, maybe the bond market starts cranking higher, yen's cranking higher, I don't know, all that kind of scenario. Maybe we can get back into the scenario where this bot just continues working away here. But I did find it interesting that Mr. I guess he's 40-year floor veteran now. He was even mentioning that this actually surprised him that the gold market has just basically stopped here. Which is good, like I said, for the bears, because you can see they had the green light to dump this thing. Everything was in place, and then the sellers just sort of backed away. I think you've sort of got to know a guy like me. I have a hard time really chasing bull markets way up top here. So I'm leery about this. I'm skeptical. That's just who Brian is. Brian, I want to... Excuse me. One more. No, just 2. All right. Brian, he loves this kind of action, right? This is my bread and butter, and then playing like this kind of move. Chasing up top here. This gives me a bit of vertigo. Well, we'll see how it goes. Kind of like I remember we talked through this, right? If we are actually going to set up a new bull, I'd like to see this kind of action in here. Maybe we get that through here. I don't know. Looks still a little bit early. But anyway, who knows. Having said that, nice solid close above 1750 and change. Probably going to be your confirmation that rock and roll, away we go. I just, honestly, if I had my choice of whether I want to buy gold and silver and those kind of commodities or I want to buy Bitcoin, I would much rather buy Bitcoin and crypto. But that's just me. Which, of course, pisses all the gold bugs off to no end. Talked a little bit about Russell 2000 versus Dow. Like I said, I'm leery about whether this really is a bull here in risk. I don't think it is. I think we're very late in the cycle. Now people are watching the health reports, new cases ramping up, hospitalizations ramping up. So here we go. And if anything, what I'm actually hearing from the politicians is, hey, the stock market's doing so great. Maybe we don't need to have stimulus anymore. Maybe we can stop all these unemployment checks, all this free money going out to all these deadbeats. Uh-oh. Get ready. Now, while the market is still working up and we're not in meltdown mode, like I've said repeatedly, I've got a bunch of stock on the books. So if I have stock on the books and it's going, I will be more than happy to take profits if the profits are coming. And I have to tell you today, and actually I thought this is serendipitous. I think I've told you guys I had a tooth that was driving me nuts. I had to get a root canal, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't do the insurance thing. So obviously and today is the final day where you get your crown. And oh, by the way, you have to pay the bill now, sir. So if anything, this is serendipitous because the market obviously rewarded me very well here today. Not only did I get one double off, I actually got two. I got my first initial. In fact, here I even tweeted it out. My first initial sell was above my double level, so felt good about that, which was a nice treat. And of course, you never know what the hell these damn things are going to do. Actually, that's the second one. I don't know where the first one was. But, this is an interesting one because I even came out about a week or so ago, and I don't do this very often. But I came out on June 1st and I said, something's brewing here. I mean, look at that chart. Reload zone, reload zone, reload zone, double bottoms. Look at momentum starting to turn up here. I mean, everything said, look out, something's about to happen here. You never know exactly what, right? But turns out that they got a big contract there in the environmentally friendly cleanup, oil refineries, utilities, that kind of stuff. And it turns out they got a big contract from ExxonMobil, and boom, stock went absolutely nuts. As I kind of told the site members this morning, I don't like to think. Thinking actually makes my head hurt. I don't know, call me stupid. What I like to do is I like to try and figure out what works in the marketplace and use history to try and sort of give me a picture of what a good strategy for making money is, i.e. setups, that kind of talk. This particular case, really, really low share count. I think relatively high insider participation, pretty good fundamentals. So on balance, not a terrible idea to be thinking about buying. Came in even last fall and picked some up. Market melted down. Market rallied right back smartly back to my original entry. So I kind of just, I didn't need to sell. This was in my retirement account. Like I said, the fundamentals of the company were relatively positive. So I just wanted to let the market breathe a little bit. And then I saw this setup like I tweeted about, like, holy shit, something's about to happen here. And there is that something. Like I said, I don't like to think. All I like to do is try and find ideas that I'd like to buy, make sure I take appropriate risk. In this particular case is classic, what we call Nanny Nibbles, little old lady kind of risk management strategy. I think total trade came out to about 1.5–2% of my portfolio. I mean, not big numbers, but enough to make it worth my while, trust me. So I snuck my way in at about 60–70 cents. Right on the gap opening this morning, I got filled at $1.55, so that's a pretty good fill. Felt pretty good about that. And then, just like I said, I don't like to think. Just what does my plan say I have to do? Well, put another order, sell another half if it doubles again. And sure enough, within an hour or two, remember you saw that pre-market chart, so it really shouldn't have surprised us to see this. Hey, I got another double off here. And now, the sad part about it is that this is when the public actually starts, hey, what's going on here? Maybe I should invest in this. And I'm already, like I said, I just paid for my teeth today. Whew, thank goodness. Anyway, so that's sort of what I'm doing in the market. And day in, day out, as this stuff comes along, that's what I do. So I just run my small business of trading, accumulating against the bottom ends of ranges. When the market pops, make sure to pay myself. Follow the plan, rinse and repeat. And it's interesting. We had Kevin on the call today, and this is just because this happens in the stock market. And I actually said this once before, and it was great. Somebody even paraphrased me and said, "Hey, so you probably want to write this down." Well, we really don't trade here. I mean, CLIR. Have I ever been to the company? Do I know any of the directors? Have I ever actually bought any of their products? No. Really, the irony of it all is really all we're doing is we're just trading this vehicle, and all this is this just a conversation about human emotion and sort of how do humans look at fear and greed, and how can you build a plan to take advantage of that? And I hate to say it, I've said this repeatedly over and over and over recently, but I see the same thing that's happening in the stock market, the junior piece of crap stocks. I see the same thing happening in the altcoin market. And what a surprise. The public thinks altcoins are shit coins. They think they're all a scam. They think they're going to get broke if they even think about buying them. So what a perfect scenario for nice weekly W's to come in. And there are a bunch of them. I just happened to post this one out here. Weekly W's are just forming now. I mean, if you are a professional risk manager, you are a professional money manager, you have to look at this chart and you have to say, gee whiz, opportunity is now here. Not opportunity is nowhere. The worst part about it, of course, is the public comes in during this, and it's at this point you have to go, there's no opportunity here. Price has already been bid up. It's actually extremely risky here. But after assets base, I mean, keep in mind, this thing's done nothing now for just basically about a year, and starts painting weekly W's. Well, I mean, opportunity is definitely now here. The question is, are you going to take advantage of it? And, sadly, of course, these things will jump up, and that's when the public will come out, and they'll be, the sad part about it is the guy who's actually going to be buying the Lambo, he's the guy who's actually buying here. The people that buy here, they're actually buying the Lambo for the guy who buys down here. They're paying for his Lambo. That's the worst part about capitalism. So, through the daily brief today, way to go, CLR. I don't even know where the hell the top. I better get my next sell half on a double order working. I mean, I don't know where the hell this thing's going to end. But, hopping on over to crypto, gee whiz, everybody should know this story. Everybody should know where I'm long from, and I still have my coins from 2 sats. But here is a perfect example where an asset could have given you the opportunity to basically build a risk-free position now forever. Hopefully everybody sees this W. Man, that is one hell of a W. And the weird thing about this is you could have just gone and said, Brian, okay, fine, I see your W's. I'll just go in and put my order in anywhere around in here, and you would have been filled. This is what we call a Wyckoff check. Nanny nibbles, little old ladies just nibbling away here. They just got paid big time. Traders, I'm a trader. Look at me, traders got trade, right? Kicking ass through here. But check this out. Does this thing... Oh, actually, maybe I have to do it on a different chart. Just to tease you there. Does this XVG... Does this have any room to move up at all? Any room? Now, I mean... Fundamentals aside, I'm not going to comment on this coin. Everybody knows this coin story. It's interesting, actually, there's another coin in exactly the same industry that I would be really interested to follow right now. Does that thing have any room to move up whatsoever? Well, same industry. I don't know whether they are actually still in the same industry, but they were last cycle. So maybe I'll refrain from that comment. But the point here is, again, there's so many of these altcoins that look like this. I mean, I don't know what else to say to you guys other than, damn, get in there, hunt those W's. Tomorrow's Lambos are actually being formed today. I mean, there's just so many of them. I can't go through all the list. It's remarkable how many of these things there are. So, anyway, I think I'll leave the free video at that. I've been rambling here a bit here today. The corn, it's same old, same old. My comment lately has been bow tie. I don't see any reason to change this thinking. And if anything, this is actually the perfect environment for the altcoins to have their little pops. They'll have all their pops. Probably on all that inertia, Bitcoin gets bid up here a little bit. Then all of the guys that are running up these altcoins, they'll all liquidate their Bitcoin in unison to go to cash. And that starts the resolution of this bow tie. But until we get to that event, I think we're just stuck in here. And so that's easily a good, what is that? Geez, that's easily a week or so away. There's not really anything to comment here about Bitcoin. So. Okay, everybody, I think I will leave the free presentation at that. Have yourselves an awesome rest of your day. Make damn sure to have your open orders working. Don't take any wooden nickels. And, of course, remember what your number one job as a trader is. All the best to everybody, and bye for now.